is to be landing a job, a 9 to 5 job that you can do anywhere you are in the world. Now, you see, the beauty of technology is exactly what is happening right now. We're here, we're having a conversation, and technology has connected us. That's the beauty of it. It means that these days, you don't have to tune in, you don't have to come into the office for you to do your job. You can be working from anywhere in the world. And that is the beauty of technology. That's exactly why we're here today. So I'm going to be showing you, if you're one of those people who works a shift job, I'm going to be walking you through a verified blueprint that has taken over 4,000 professionals. And when I say 4,000 professionals, I mean people who came from traditional backgrounds. They came from backgrounds like accounting, like finance, and others. They had no idea what tech is. One of the best things about it is I would say that about 95% of the people who come into our doors at Tenalytics had no idea what tech was. So it doesn't matter what your background looks like. I'm going to be showing you how you can move from that to a 9 to 5 job. And not just that, a remote job that you can do anywhere in the world. Welcome once again to today's tech series. My name again is Lola Femina. Before we get into it, if you have a friend, if you have a loved one, a family member, someone that you know really wants to get into tech. They've been talking about this for a while. Well, how do you get into tech? I think I should get into tech, but they've never taken the chance to do it. You need to reach out to them and send them this link and say, hey, I think you might probably be interested in joining this masterclass. And that's because in 2026, we are moving differently and we are sharing knowledge with our loved ones. Also, throughout the duration of this masterclass, it's only going to take us a couple of minutes. In about an hour, we are done. My colleagues will be dropping a link in the chat. Now, I would like you to click on that link, and you can fill out the details there. That's the only way you are going to get access to the resources I'm going to be sharing today. You're going to gain access to this slide I'm going to be sharing. You're also going to gain access as well to all the freebies that we share only to the people who are in our community. All right. Now, if you're with me and you're ready to get into it, I would just like you to type in your name in the chat. You know who's speaking. My name is Lola. So type in your name and where you're joining us from. So you could say Lola, Manchester. You could say Tola, Toronto. Okay. Hello, Rufus. How are you doing today? Okay, let's keep it coming. Okay. Is Rufus the only person here? Okay. Idayat, how you doing? Omaomi from the UK. Hello. Ego from Lagos. We've also got Winga as well. We've got John from the UK. We've got Joy from Manchester. We've got Atinuke from Wales. Okay. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Love it. I love how interactive this class is. Let's keep that coming. Ramota from the UK, amazing. It's amazing to meet everyone here today, and I'm hoping that you're going to get so much value from this. Actually, you know what, scratch that. You are going to get so much value from this. So remember, share this with your friends, share this link, and get them to come in and be a part of this conversation. All right. Now, let's talk about why you are here with us today. Because if you're here with us today, it's most likely that you fit into one of these that I'm going to be breaking down. You're here because maybe you've just worked a 12-hour shift. Maybe you are on a shift, Maybe you did 2 shifts back to back. You sat in the break room and, you're thinking to yourself, I can't keep doing this. This is going on for too long. You're working weekends. This is Easter. You probably don't even have the time to spend Easter with your family. Your body is breaking down. You're exhausted. You're working back to back to back. One of our students, and she's an alumni now, she was telling her story on how she was working care. She was in Canada. She had a HR background in Nigeria. And then when she moved to Canada, she couldn't find the jobs that fit her. So she started working care. And then eventually she was able to get a job in the HR field, but it still wasn't at the level that she was operating at because she was working as a manager in Nigeria. So compared to what she was getting in Canada, it was from. So she still had to keep working her care job. Now she had two of these jobs and she was doing, was part-time in one, part-time in the other one. So after she's done with her day job, she now moves to her care job. So she worked Mondays to Sundays. She didn't have to go into her HR job on Saturdays and Sundays. So she basically had three jobs so she could keep up with the bills. And guess what? It still wasn't enough. And that is most likely the story some people share here today. You are working back to back to back, but the bills keep coming, the taxes keep coming, and it seems like everything that you work for goes all the way back to the government. You are watching your visa count down with no clear plan. You're wondering, so much is happening. There's so much uncertainty right now. There's so many things that are changing right now. Where is that going to leave you? You keep applying to jobs and you hear nothing back. Oh, we probably all heard that. You know that silence when you send a job? I think in some cases, the silence is even better than oh, sorry to inform you, unfortunately. Someone posted something one time on Instagram and it was just a screenshot of his email. And he typed in the keyword, unfortunately. And there was just so much, rejection emails inside his inbox. And it was just eye-opening as to the reality of a lot of people who are looking to break into jobs, but it's just rejections and rejections. And the question is it that I'm not doing it right? What's wrong with the way I'm applying? And then you're also here because you've heard about tech, haven't you? You've heard about tech. You've heard about all of the opportunities in tech. You've heard that people are working remotely. Maybe there was a time in your life when you worked remotely as well. So you know that there are opportunities in tech and you're wondering how you can get in on it. You also are here because you want to give your family a better life, but you don't know how. What you need is a blueprint. What you need is a partner who will take you, hold your hands, and walk you through this process. Now, if any of this sounds like you are in the right place. But then let's also do this. If any of this sounds like you, drop a yes in the chat. Let's know. If it doesn't describe you, you can say no. But if any of this, anything that I have said touches even a little bit on your reality, type a yes. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of yes. Now, I want you to take a look around the room as people are typing yes into the chat. Just look at all of these names. These are people from different parts of the world. These are people from diverse backgrounds, people who look differently from each other with different backgrounds and stories. But guess what? One thing that you share in common is that in some way, shape, or form, your story is reflected here. So you are not alone. Whatever it is that you're passing through, you're thinking, you know what, I have no idea where to go from here. You are not alone. And the reason why everyone is here is because they are looking for something better. And that's exactly what I'm going to be walking you through today. So what I'm going to be showing you is 10 high demand tech roles. 10 high demand tech roles. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm sure you've been through enough webinars where they talk for 45 minutes and then they try to sell you something big at the end. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to show you 10 high demand tech roles that you can transition into with proof that they are hiring right now. Okay. So I'm also going to be showing you how to gain work experience, even if you have zero tech background. So regardless of where you come from, remember what I said about most of the people who come into our doors being from diverse background. We've got finance, we've got construction, we've got HR. These are people who the first time they heard about tech or maybe when a friend mentioned and they thought to themselves, hey, I need someone to guide me in this transition. And they came into analytics and that was how they moved into tech. And today they are established in their roles. I am going to be showing the playbook that these people use and how you can become one of them. I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan that you can use to land your first offer in 2026 within 4 to 6 months. And that's why I said, if you're here, you need to be here with your pen. So you can scribble down some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you today. Now, this plan is something that we have used for years, and it has worked every single time. Now, at 10Analytics, we are an edtech company that is focused on helping people like you transition into the tech space. And that's why I said we have been doing this for years. We have refined our strategy. We've been around for almost 6 years. And in that time, we have tested out different frameworks. We have seen what works in the market. We have seen what doesn't work. And we have perfected the blueprint. In 5 years, we have helped over 4,000 people. These are 4,000 people with no prior experience transition into tech. Like I said, one thing that we really excel at is taking the person who has no idea what tech is and then giving them the blueprint that they can use to excel. And we've been doing this for almost 6 years. Now we've helped them transition into a range of fields. We've helped them transition into data analytics, cybersecurity, financial analytics, data engineering, health tech, DevOps, product design, agile project management, amongst others. So if you are looking for, oh, I need to get into tech and I have no idea how to do it, this is the best place for you to start. Now, 10Analytics also has, we also have our office in Alberta, Canada, and then in London, UK. Then we also co-founded, our founders also co-founded Andari as well. So I'm going to be walking you through a lot of things a lot of value that you can get taking 10Analytics side by side and working with 10Analytics to transition into your career path. But before that, we are also accredited by the CPD in the UK and also accredited by ACTD as well. So one thing that you can be rest assured is, I know some people will be wondering, what can I do with my certification? Is this accredited? Absolutely. So you're working with 10Analytics, and we are accredited in the UK and in the US, so you have nothing to be worried about. Our curriculum is up to date. Every single thing that is required for you to get a job, a high-paying, high-demand job, is exactly what we're going to be showing you. But not just that. I always tell people that 10Analytics is a career activation company. So there are lots of boot camps, by the way. You can go on YouTube and you can learn for free. You can go to Coursera and you can audit a course. But why do you choose to work with a partner like 10Analytics? You choose to work with a partner like 10Analytics because you want someone who will take your hand and walk you through it. You want a company that has done this over and over again, but not just with, impacting the skills to people, but helping people become employable. Having the skills and being employable are two completely different things. And you see this reflected in the markets. There are lots of intelligent, smart, and skilled people who are unemployed today. And that is because the skill and employability are not the same thing. And a lot of times people tend to confuse them and think that, well, if I just have enough certifications on my resume, people will notice me. If I have enough certifications when I apply, recruiters are going to see that I'm fantastic. If I list Harvard and the rest on my LinkedIn profile, recruiters are going to reach out to me because of all of the amazing schools that I've gone to. But guess what? The world has completely changed. Now, why is Lola the best person to talk to you about this? This is because I have been doing this for over 10 years. My name is Olafemi, and I'm a product and operations leader. I've been head of product at different industries across the world. And right now, I'm the chief operating officer here at 10Analytics. My job is obsession. That's how I would describe it. Obsession with building systems that turn normal people into high demand hires. Now, I've done this over and over again, and over the years, I have perfected it. I have coached hundreds of people and helped them transition into tech. I've been in tech myself for over 10 years. I've been on both sides of it. I have been interviewed, I have been recruited, I have recruited. So I have what you would call somewhat of an insider knowledge on how these things work. So if there's anyone who can talk to you about what the market is like across the world, and who can also talk to you about how to become the kind of candidate who attracts the best opportunities, I think that you are in the right place. Now, we're not here to talk about me, we're here to talk about you. You want more. You want to stop working shifts. You want to move into a job that gives you options. So let's examine the opportunities that you have here. Now, first of all, you can see this on one end is what you do right now, and then on the other end is what we are going to be exploring together. The first thing is your working shifts, and shifts destroy your body, it destroys your mind. You can't think clearly, you're exhausted. Now, compare that to opportunities, 9 to 5 predictable hours when you work in tech. When you work in tech, you have the option of either working on site, of working remote, or working hybrid. Now, when you work shift, you're working nights, you're working weekends, even on holidays, you are working. There is no life whatsoever. But with tech, you have the opportunity to work from home anywhere in the world. I was telling a friend that one of the beauty of tech is exactly what is happening right now. We're all in different parts of the world and we're all connected here. That is because with tech, you can work from anywhere, you can be anywhere. I'm probably all got families across the world, and we have no problem connecting to them. It's exactly the future of work right now. But if you're working in an industry that doesn't allow you move, in an industry that keeps you rooted to a spot, you are not moving with the times. And that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you. At the end of the day, you're making about 28 pounds, 28,000 pounds after years of grinding, but then in tech, you have the opportunity to earn up to 140 as a starting salary. Now, when you work shifts, you don't get remote options, but in tech, you have full remote and hybrid options if you choose that. Now, there's so many advantages for working in tech, so many advantages of moving into the career path that I'm going to be walking you through. And that's exactly why I said this is the best time for you to make this move right now. If you look at the gap between this working shift and then the other one, which is working in tech, it's just a couple of months of grinding. We have people who have transitioned within a few months. I'm talking months. We have people who have transitioned in 3 months. Now, our program is designed to be 8 months long, but we have people who have come in and in just 6 months, they have transitioned. Some of them took them 3 months. People like Hope. Now, Hope had project management and Scrum Master certification, and she was pretty qualified on paper. When you looked at Hope's certifications, they were quite impressive, but Hope had a problem. She was not getting jobs. No matter what Hope did, she was not getting jobs. Every time she opened her email, it just wasn't working. However, Hope joined our Agile Project Management Program in September 2024. And here's a shocker. By December 2024, Hope had gotten a job. Now, it seems unbelievable. How in the world did they do it? How is it possible that someone came in and in 3 months, before her program was over, by the way, she was able to get a job? Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind as we move on is every story that I share here with you, everyone whose story I share with you are real people. You can go on LinkedIn, you can go on LinkedIn and DM them and verify the stories. One of the questions that we get all the time is, are these real people? Are these stories for real? So you can go on LinkedIn, you can find these people and you can send them DMs and confirm the story that I'm sharing with you today. But it took Hope 3 months for her to fully transition into tech. And this was because all Hope needed was proof. She already had the skill. And this is why I say that skill is not enough for you to transition. So if you're looking to move into tech, it's not enough for you to say, I want to learn the skill. You have to become employable in that field. And that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you today. Now let's talk about remote work and all of the opportunities that exist in remote work. Now, first of all, 42% of the global workforce either works remotely or hybrid. Think about it. That's 42% of the global workforce either work remotely or hybrid. But here's the sad part. You are not one of those 42%. Most likely not. So how do you become one of that 42%? We're going to be talking about that. This is not a trend, by the way. It's a complete transformation. Now, companies save 11,000 per remote employee annually. So when you think about it, it's beneficial for companies to employ people remotely. And that's one of the reasons why this is not something that's going to go out of style anytime soon. You're going to keep on finding more and more companies are shifting to working remotely. So there are lots and lots of opportunities in this industry. It's just a matter of number one, skill, and then number two, becoming employable in this industry is how you stand out, how you interview, how you speak, how you show up your portfolio, how you stand out in the job market. A combination of that is what helps you get these opportunities. Now, 15.7 million remote jobs are available globally right now. That tells you all of these are opportunities that you can cash into. There are over 15 million remote jobs that are just sitting in the market waiting for you. But the only thing that is keeping you from taking these jobs is a matter of skill. Now, the good part is remote workers earn 22% more than their office-based counterparts. So it means that even though you are working remotely, it doesn't eat into your pocket. Working remotely doesn't take away opportunities from you. And this is because remote jobs, they tend to be higher skilled, they tend to have higher value, and this is exactly why they pay more. Now, another thing about remote jobs is that it eliminates 73% of visa barriers. So when a company hires remotely, they don't care where you live. They don't, what the number one thing they care about is, can this person do the job? So it is your competence that matters when they are looking to hire you. Where you stay, it doesn't matter. But then it's all about, can you do the job? Now, by 2030, 92 million jobs are expected to be remote by 2030. So it means that the opportunities are just going to keep on exploding when it comes to jobs that you can work remotely. If you're looking for a 9 to 5 job, if you've never gone on and Googled remote job, remote opportunities, it is something that is possible. It is something that is available to you. But it is a matter of, number one, the skill, and number two, becoming employable so that you can get the opportunities in this field. Now, let's talk about what you're most likely doing that's not going to get you the results that you need. So this is tough love. Now, mistake number one, you are learning from YouTube videos. When you learn from YouTube videos, you just sit down and say, oh, I want to learn. So people would learn things like, data analytics from YouTube videos. I'm going to tell you a short story. I started my career in product management. Now, when I started product management, I was still in school at this time, and it was just with a group of friends. So I went online, we had a product that we wanted to build. We fancied ourselves, founders, and we thought we were going to raise. So I was in school then, and, I went online and I just, Googled product management courses, and that was how I got started. Now, the courses, I took them, but I didn't finish them. I just took a few on Coursera. I actually audited the courses, took a few on Coursera, and then I took a few on Allison, and that was it. And then I started. Some of the things that I learned there were agile project management frameworks. But by the time I got into it for real, I realized that there was a huge difference between what you learn in theory and then when you put it in practice. And this is because, of course, when you are learning, it is different from when you are actually putting in the work. So I realized that my strategies, I had to blend agile frameworks and blend that with waterfall. So when it comes to product management, agile is when you are planning, you put your plan together and you say, okay, we're going to take this in smaller chunks. If you want to build, say, Facebook, for example, you have to break that down into smaller chunks. First of all, you're going to build your login page. And then when you build your login page, you're going to build your home page as opposed to approaching everything and trying to build it at once. Waterfall is messy. And what I realized was that, especially my first project, we had to do a blend of both. Now, this is something that I most likely would have had an idea of if I had not learned in an isolated environment. But because I did that, I now had to learn on the job. We don't have that time. And that is the difference. So if you are learning from YouTube videos, if you are learning in a space that doesn't give you the opportunity to apply practical learnings to what you are learning, then by the time you actually get into the industry, when you get your first job, you are still learning, and that would be a problem. Now, the second thing is, okay, you've done well, you've learned. Now you want to apply. People make the mistake of applying with a generic CV. A generic CV is not going to give you what you need. And this is why I said there are so many skilled people who do not have jobs today. Now, a generic CV is only going to get you past one point, which is where you look at the job description itself and when you click on apply. It's not going to take you anything further than that. They have what they call ATS these days. ATS is the applicants tracking system. And the way ATS works is that if I build a job description right now, I can just say, okay, I want my candidates to learn to understand Power BI. I want them to know how to use Tableau, or I want them to know how to use Excel. And then in my job description, I put these keywords there. I can say, requirements. In my requirements section, I'm saying must know how to use Power BI, must be fantastic with Excel and other things. These are requirements. When we read job descriptions, sometimes we just tend to skim over them and move on. But what ATS does is that it picks the keywords. I can say Power BI is non-negotiable. Excel is non-negotiable. 5 years on the job is non-negotiable. So when you apply, what happens is you put your CV into what you can call a funnel. So when your CV enters that funnel and they connect that funnel to, the moment you click on apply and you upload your resume, it enters that funnel. Now they can connect that funnel to an AI, and that AI acts as a filter. So you are now applying with a generic CV. That generic CV is not tailored with that job description in mind. So what happens is your resume is just getting thrown out. So imagine 1,000 people apply, but at the end of the pile, we've only got 5% of those people sitting there. And that's because the ATS was just throwing out all of the resumes that were not fit for that job. Now, another thing is some people would make mistakes of putting they would upload pictures on their resume. It depends on the country you're applying in. Some people would see that and go, this is so unprofessional. But then there are countries that you're applying where you can use your picture there. There are formats that you have to use to make your resume readable. For example, some people would have designs, lovely designs. Like you can see my slides right now. They would have something that looks like this, like the circle here. You would have one, you would have two. In your resume. The problem is that it looks lovely when you're looking at it. You put something together, a nice template together on Canva. It looks lovely when you look at it. The problem is that the system cannot read it. There are some fonts that you use that the ATS cannot read. So what happens is when you apply, nobody even gets to view your resume. There's this Reddit group that I'm in, it's a community, and it's just people talking about their experiences when they applied for jobs. Someone came in one time and was talking about how he got rejected immediately he applied for a job. Said, I literally just clicked on the apply button, and as soon as I clicked on it, I was rejected. I don't know. Has anyone ever experienced that? Anyone in the house? You can just type a yes in the chat if you have. Has anyone ever experienced, applying for a job, and the moment you click on apply, you get a rejection email, and you're wondering to yourself, how in the world did this happen? Has that happened to anyone? Immediately you apply. Let's say, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, you're getting an unfortunately, we're sorry to inform you, you're not a fit for this role. Nobody. If you have not, you can send a no in the chat. If you have, you can send a yes. Has anyone experienced that? Okay, Rufus said no. Okay, has anyone else experienced that? Okay, Sam said not at all. Interesting. Okay, so do we say that we're not applying to enough jobs? Is that why? Okay, Omaomi said no. iPhone said no. Interesting. Okay, but there are jobs that, okay, Bukola said yes. Amazing. It's not amazing for you. That's not a good experience. Like I can imagine what that must have been like. But there are I would say that the higher you go, if you're applying for jobs at the big dog companies, they don't have the time to sit down and review 200 resumes at once in a day. So what they will do, because they know that they get hundreds of applications daily, because everybody wants to work there, they would automate that process. Now, another mistake that people make is not having portfolio or projects when they apply to jobs. Now, what this does is that it disqualifies you. The moment your resume gets to the table of a recruiter, now let's say you have beat the almighty ATS. Now your resume gets to the table of a real person, and this person is saying, all right, now let's take a look at Rufus's application. Let's take a look at Ego's application. And then it gets there, they open it, and then they're looking for proof that you've done it. Now, the way I describe resumes, that's your CV, and your portfolio is show and tell. Your CV is your tell. Your portfolio is your show. What do I mean? Your CV is where you say things like, I optimize processes and I increase our revenue by 43%. Your portfolio is where you show how you did it. So now these days, one thing that, okay, Hortensia said, NHS application, after a question on having NHS experience, I had answered no, exactly. So these things are automated. To them, they don't have the time to sit down and look at all of these things and just automate it. And if you don't meet their requirements, immediately you get rejected like a test. So what these recruiters are looking out for, aside from your CV being fantastic, is proof that you have done the job before. And this is where portfolios come in. Now, for people who learned on YouTube, or people who learned without knowing that, look, I am learning to build employability skills. One of the mistakes that they make is that they now enter the market thinking that a fantastic CV is enough to get a job. It's a lie. What's going on right now is that it has become so competitive, highly competitive, that in order for you to stand out, you have to ensure that you are doing all of this. Number one, you have to ensure that you are showing competence, but not just competence in terms of the text that you put on your CV, but competence to prove to recruiters that I have done this before. This is something I am good at and I can do it in your company. For example, you're a data analyst. How does a data analyst apply to a job without having proof that they have built something like this before? It's impossible. If you're a data analyst who is applying, for example, say to the NHS, you need to apply a portfolio. And your portfolio is going to be a dashboard or an analysis of a hospital system, for example, or a hospital process. They have to see that you understand what you are talking about. They have to see that you have done this before. It's the only way they are going to take you seriously. Now, another mistake that people make is not having local or regional work experience. Now, I know that some of us would have had experiences of applying to jobs, and the number one reason that you're rejected is that you don't have local work experience. Or in some cases, just like, the NHS question, when they ask if you've worked in the NHS before, you can get a question like, have you ever worked in the UK before? Have you ever worked in the US before? These are questions that are designed to eliminate you. And it's actually for very good reason, because they're thinking to themselves, I don't want to bring on someone who doesn't have context to my industry, who doesn't have context to my local area. I don't want to bring on someone who I have to train. I don't want to bring on someone who is going to take a while for that person. Okay, I can see some questions. How can one add a portfolio to a CV? This is through a link. You can link it on your CV. It's kind of like your LinkedIn. So your CV should have a header. Your header should include things like your name. It should include things like a link to your LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn here, you need to open a LinkedIn account. It should also include a link as well to your portfolio. You need to have a link to your portfolio there. That's where you put it. So that when you're submitting it as one document. However, in some job applications, they will require you to submit it as different documents. So people might have experienced that. So they would ask you to submit your CV. Then they would now ask you, when you scroll down, they would ask you to submit your portfolio or they would ask you to talk about a time when you did something. And this is basically where you can now attach a link to your portfolio. Now, not having local experience is one thing that will keep you stuck. There are lots of people who, move to a different country. Maybe you used to live in Kenya or you used to live in Ghana, and you move to the UK or you move to the US or you move to Canada. And then, unfortunately for you, when you're applying for jobs, your last work experience was in your country. But the funny thing is, how do you gain experience in Canada if nobody is willing to hire you? And because your last experience was in your country, nobody is employing you. A lot of people have this story, and this is one of the blockers that keep them in the same place. So even though you go on YouTube and you are learning, it still doesn't change the fact that you don't have local experience. Now, you have no professional mentor or reference. Okay, Sam is saying a portfolio is a collection of jobs. Exactly, yes. Yes, your portfolio is a breakdown of, so it's more like I'm going to show you an example of a portfolio, by the way. Your portfolio is a breakdown. So let's say you are a business analyst, for example, or let's say you're a product designer. So all of these jobs that you have worked at, a product designer, for example, can have a CV. And then in the CV, he's saying things like, or she's saying things like, I improved our conversion rate by, designing, optimizing for user experience, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what does that tell me? In your portfolio, you're not breaking down the projects you worked on. Oh, I redesigned the NHS website. I redesigned the website, and then there is a link there for them to see it. And then not only can they see the visuals of what you did, you can also walk them through your thought process on designing it. Oh, we've traditionally used yellow, but I thought that if we came with this approach, so your portfolio is where you can do a breakdown of the projects that you have worked on and then visually walk them through it. I'm going to take questions in the chat later on, but you can drop any questions that pop up there. So another mistake, last but not least, is no professional mentor or reference. Now you have gotten a job. Do you have reference? And then one thing that you find is that no one is an island. People need people. Especially when you are transitioning into a new career path, you need a community. You cannot do it alone. When I first moved into tech, when I got my first big girl job in tech, it would have been impossible for me if I didn't have someone who was holding my hands and walking me through the process. I had a mentor. So when you learn in isolation, you cannot have a mentor when you learn in isolation, unless you want to start reaching out to people, via LinkedIn and say, hey, would you be my mentor? Would you mind being my mentor? That's one way that you can do it. But then this is one of the things that will keep you stuck. When you get into the industry and you have no mentor, you have no one who can provide you with reference, and then you are stuck having to use your friends for reference. I know some of my students and participants that I've spoken to, alumni, would say things like, well, I used to use my friends before as a reference, and sometimes they would actually reject the reference because it's not solid enough. But what if you had a company like 10Analytics giving you or providing your reference? If you just go online and Google 10Analytics, you can see that, this is credible. You can see that this is real. So all of these together are mistakes that you could be making that could be keeping you in the same spot. Now, how exactly does 10Analytics solve this problem? How do we solve it? First of all, project-based learning. Project-based learning, you're going to be learning how to build. You're going to be learning and you're also going to be building at the same time. I call it the hybrid approach. So it's while I'm learning, I'm also building. So you're not waiting to finish your learning first, and then you start to build. While you are learning, you are building your portfolio. From the moment you come in, we understand how important a portfolio is for you to stand out in the market. So it's now a case of while you are learning, you are building. Now we've designed a flow. So one time we were having a mentorship session, and that's also one of the things that we also offer, mentorship sessions, where we walk the people in our community through how to become employable, and we share tips and tricks with them on how to be hireable or how to impress the hiring managers. Now, someone asked a question one time in one of these sessions, and his question was, so I used to work in finance and I've never worked in tech before. So when I get into my first interview, and I'm applying for jobs right now. This is me speaking as the guy. Because I'm applying for jobs right now. So when I get these interviews and they start to ask me questions like, tell me about the time when and right now what I'm learning here is data analytics. So I don't know how I'm going to connect the dots because I've never done this before. And my response to him was, we have a structure that basically helps you answer this. Now, when you join Tenalytics, you have your cohort. Your cohort, like I would like to say, the whole of Tenalytics is a community. But to ensure that this community works for you, we have broken it down into different levels. You have your cohort. Your cohort is everyone who is starting with you this month. So everyone who starts with you in April are a part of your cohort. Now we take that cohort and we break them down into their course. So everyone who is starting with you in Agile Projects Management and you're in Agile Project Management, that is your community. Everyone in cybersecurity, everyone is, now they are broken down into subsections. Then we take that and we also break it down as well into region. So depending on the region that you're in, are you in North America? Are you in Europe? We break it down. Then we now break it down into what we call pods. Your pod is like your small village. So this is a group of people, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 people that are all learning with you. So you are all at the same level in terms of, I'm just transitioning. I have no idea what this is about, but I'm excited to get into it. And you are all learning together. So you get to meet new people from across the world who are learning with you and becoming employable with you. Now, what we call this is departments. So you are literally in a department. When you get a project, you have to work on that project. You work on the projects with the people in your community, that is the people in your pod, the people in your village. So when you go to your interviews and they ask you something like, tell me about a time when they're going to say, well, in Tenalytics, I was working on a project with my department. Remember, your department is your pod. And then, I suggested that we do this a certain way. But then, my colleague had other ideas and I decided, okay, let's give that a shot. And we did that together. Now, what I learned was that when you approach problems together and you solve it as a team, so this is how you build skills that makes you employable. You see how the entire program is designed to make you employable. Now, another thing is we also offer CV tailoring and LinkedIn optimization. Now, I want to know, has anyone here ever gotten a message from a recruiter before? You can say yes or no. Has anyone ever gotten a message from a recruiter saying something like, hey, I think that you might be interested in this job. Would you like to apply? Has anyone ever gotten that? Yes or no? Yes or no? If you have gotten, okay, John said yes, Adebayo said yes, Musa said yes. Amazing, amazing. You can also say no if you haven't. Okay, Efemena Isang said no. Okay, Rufus said no. Okay, Apollon said yes. Exactly. So you can see that we've got a mix of no's and yes. Now the yes in the house makes me really excited. So we understand the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an engine, it's an employability engine. If you know how to use it the right way, if you know how to use LinkedIn the right way, it will bring the right people to you. Now, when you are transitioning into a new field, it means that what your LinkedIn is about, it has to change. Or you used to be in consulting, or you used to be in construction. Now you're moving into projects management. Your LinkedIn profile has to reflect that. You have to use keywords in your LinkedIn profile that ensures that the algorithm brings the right people to you to ensure that you are discoverable to recruiters who are looking for people like you. Now, CV tailoring. Remember when we spoke about ATS, the applicants tracking system, and how how it watches out for the keywords that you use in your CV. We also spoke about fonts. I don't know if I mentioned that, but even your fonts can disqualify you if you are using the wrong font. And no, it's not because anybody's looking at it and thinking, oh my goodness, this font is really ugly. It is because the system cannot read it. So if you use a font that the system cannot read, it would literally reject it. So there are so many things that could disqualify you while you are applying. Now, in this case, with Tanalytics, we help you build your CV. So you don't even have to worry about things like that. We give you a template that all you have to do for every single job you're applying to, just change a few keywords, and we're going to teach you how to do that as well. Now, the other thing is portfolio building. We're seeing a lot of interest when it comes to portfolio, and this is because it's a very important part of your application. If you don't have a portfolio, you are playing in the market. So while you are learning, you are also building your portfolio. Every project that you get is designed to build your portfolio. So you're building a portfolio. Maybe you have a case, on a hospital, and the idea is for you to analyze the hospital and, analyze their trends and to figure out why, people check out more between 8 p.m. to 12 p.m., for example. And then, you break this down, you walk through it, you build your use Power BI or Tableau and all of this. You don't just take that project and trash it. You take that project and you put it inside your portfolio. And this is part of what recruiters are going to see when they are looking at your CV. They'll go, oh my goodness, this person has done something really interesting in this field before. I would like to work with this person. Now, another thing is you also get 2 months internship. Now, I'm going to be walking you through what Amdari is, but at Tanalytics, you learn for 6 months, and then you get a 2 months internship with Amdari. Now, the benefit of this is that you get to add UK and Canadian work experience. Now, remember that we spoke about the lack of local experience being one thing that disqualifies people. So you don't have that problem with Tanalytics. You can list Tanalytics and say, I worked at Tanalytics, I worked at Amdari. One thing we always advise to people, our participants who come into Tanalytics, is that as soon as you join, go to your LinkedIn and then add yourself as a consultant. So you're not saying that I schooled in Tanalytics. You're not saying that I'm a student or whatever. You are saying I consulted with Tanalytics as a data analyst, as a cybersecurity analyst. And then when you move to Amdari, you're also adding that experience as well to your resume. So now imagine for someone who maybe has never had this level of experience before, you now have UK experience, you have Canadian work experience. What door can remain shut to you when you combine all of this together? Now, you also gain access as well to weekly mentorship and interview preps. Weekly mentorship and interview preps. Now, what does this mean? There are some interviews that you're going for. I'm going to tell you something really interesting. So, at McKinsey, companies like McKinsey, when they're recruiting people, their interview process is actually quite interesting. They will give you a case. They put you on a hot seat. I call it the literal hot seat. Then they ask you questions like, for example, a company is bleeding revenue. They launched in 2016. They launched in New York. And, when they launched, they hit $2 million in their first year. By their second year, they were going up to $5 million. Then they expanded to India and their revenue dipped. Can you tell why it dipped? So these are questions that you would get. And then you now have to sit down and you start asking them questions, trying to figure out, what happened. What year did they launch in India? When they launched in India, what was their target audience? When they first launched, what people were they targeting? How many people did they have at the end of the year? You're asking questions to get to the root of it. But these are interviews that put you in the hot seats. When you are job hunting, you need to be prepared for anything when it comes to interview. Being the ability to be interviewed and to not break under pressure is literally a skill on its own. You see, a lot of people would make the mistake of focusing solely on building the skills. Oh, I want to become a data analyst. I want to learn cybersecurity. I want to learn product design. But they forget that even when you have a fantastic resume, even when you have a fantastic portfolio, the way you interview also plays a huge role in whether or not you get the job. How confident you are when you respond to the recruiter. Tell me about yourself. How do you answer that question? All of this put together is what makes you employable. And this is what you're also going to be getting. You're going to be getting weekly mentorship sessions where we're going to learn together. We're going to teach you how to become employable. We're going to teach you the art of confidence. We're going to teach you the questions that you should expect when you're interviewing in different industries. We're going to teach you how to decouple industries and how to understand and prepare for interviews before you get in. You also gain access as well to interview preps. Interview preps are, so you have a big interview coming up. All right, you're scared, you're wondering, you're got anxiety. Oh my goodness, I'm worried. What kind of questions am I going to get? You can literally go to your dashboard and book what we call an interview prep. When you do that, we're going to sit down with you and we're going to have a conversation. And together we are going to practice. We're going to look at the company together. Oh, you've got an interview in Amazon. Okay, cool. All right. So what are you interviewing for? Business analyst. Okay, fantastic. Now we're gonna go online. We're gonna research together on Amazon so that you can understand how to do it. And then we're going to practice interview questions. We're going to show you how you can impress the recruiter. Or you've got an interview at NHS, you don't have to do it alone. So all of these are things that you are going to be getting at 10Analytics. You also get reference letters. Now, a lot of people do not understand how important this is, but this is so critical. So you've gotten the job. Do you have a reference letter? Now, in some jobs, they would ask you to get a reference letter, but where are you going to get it from? Now you've got 10Analytics and Amdari on your resume. You can get a reference letter at 10Analytics, and this is all of this combination put together is what helps make you employable. But it's not just that, it doesn't stop there. After you have gotten the job, so say you go on, you get that job, you get another job after that, you move on to the next level, you move on, and you come back 3 years later and you say, hey, 10Analytics, I have a problem, I need support. I don't know how to do this, and it's critical for me at this moment. We're going to get on a call with you, and we are going to provide you with that support. We had a student who reached out a few weeks ago. Actually, every couple of weeks, a couple of students reach out and they say, oh, I need support, I need help. Now, for his case, he needed help with understanding how to use a new feature in Tableau. And he said, oh, I've tried to learn this on my own and I just can't figure it out. So what we did was, we got on a call with him and we walked through it with him. He's one of our alumni. He works in Uber and he just needed help on how to use a new feature. And that is exactly what I mean. This, my people, is what I call community. So it's not just about you coming in and learning. It is even while I'm learning what happens, practicals, I'm building my portfolio, I'm learning how to interview, I'm learning how to answer questions, I'm literally becoming a different person. Then when I have gotten a job, what about that? You also gain support. So end to end, this is about making you employable. Now, a problem that you see happen a lot in the market is that people think that this is enough. People think that, oh, I'm just going to get my certificate, everything is going to be fine. You also see that a lot of immigrants make this mistake as well. You think that getting a nice, fancy Harvard certificate is going to solve your problems. It will not. You know why? Because companies literally don't care. Companies do not care. I can tell you this as the CEO of 10Analytics, I do not care where you have schooled at. Nobody cares. In fact, the last thing I look at when I'm trying to hire someone is their resume. Before I even take a look at your resume, the moment you walk into the room, the moment you open your mouth, I'm already assessing you. I'm already asking myself, is this the kind of person that we want to work with? How does this person present themselves? Can they even communicate well? How articulate are you? How do you express your thoughts? I'm looking at how you interview. And then I'm now looking at your proof. I would most likely check out your portfolio before I even read a line that you have on your resume. So this, people make a mistake. Remember, in everything I've said, I haven't mentioned certificate. People make the mistake of thinking that this is enough. But what gets you the results that you are looking for is when you combine this with skills, your skills and your experience. Because think about it for a moment. I like to advise people, when you are job hunting, do something that I call empathy, recruiter empathy. Now, let's say you have a company. We're going to do a small exercise. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. Let's say that you just built a company. Okay, you've got a brand new company. Let's say the name of your company is Form. Let's say the name of the company is Form Tech Company. Okay. Now you've got candidate A. You want to apply for the role of a business analyst, right? Now your first candidate has just graduated from Harvard. Now your first candidate is graduated, with A's all over, fantastic, speaks well, walks in and completely, blows your mind with, oh my goodness, look at my fancy certificate, and then, there's just so much potential. This person is brimming with the energy of potential. Then your second candidate walks in. Your second candidate has experience. Your second candidate was a business analyst in a company for the last 6 months. Your second candidate can show you that, hey, I built this requirement and this is one of the solutions that I worked on while I was with that company. And these are the results that I got. I was able to optimize our processes and save the company $3,000 weekly with this solution that I designed. I automated most of our processes and I saved the company money because most of the roles that they were employing for could be automated through AI. And that's exactly what I did. Tell me, who are you going to employ? Are you going to employ candidate A, the one who walked in with the Harvard experience? Or are you going to employ candidate B, the one who came in and said, this is what I have done in this company, and this is how much I saved the company? I'd love to see your comments, okay? Rufus said candidate B, the one with experience. Patrick said B. Colin said B. Interesting. Everybody is saying B. So this is what I mean when I say practice recruiter empathy. Put yourself in the shoes of the person who is employing you. Put yourself in the shoes of the person who is reviewing your resume. What do they want to see? Now, it's easy for you to say B right now because you're thinking, I am the person who owns this company. For companies, what they care about is revenue. What they care about is people who are going to get them the results that they need. They don't care about your fancy certificate. So let's trash that. Okay, in 2026, I want to share a story with you. This is Ikmat. Ikmat used to be a stay-at-home mom. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. Now, Ikmat, she moved to the UK for her master's in public health. And she was a stay-at-home mom. She did that for 2 years. And then that meant that she had an employment gap in her resume. Now, after a while, Ikmat said to herself, I want more. So she joined our data analytics program. One thing that Ikmat was also looking for was sponsorship as well. And in January 2024, Ikmat landed a role as an information analyst. And she got this role with full visa sponsorship. This person, this could be you. This could be you sharing Ikmat's story. Now, remember when I said that we have done this over and over and over again, and we have had years, almost 6 years to perfect the strategy. We have tried different frameworks, the same framework I'm sharing with you today. These are things that are wrong with your application that you probably didn't even know why. This is why you get rejected at jobs. You don't interview right. The way you apply is wrong. You're relying just on skills. You're not competent yet. You don't have a portfolio. The way you are learning is wrong. All of these combined are things that we have noticed in the industry and what we have built solutions for. But a lot of people, they stay stuck here on this first level where ICMAT is. They stay stuck here and then they start to work jobs that do not make them happy. That's when you would see them start to go for jobs that they are overqualified for, because the ones that they are qualified for some reason, they're not getting it. And then people start to tell them things like, you have to go back to school. And you start thinking, okay, maybe I need to get a new degree. Maybe I need to get a new certificate for me to become employable. But that's not the problem. The problem is we don't have the skills that the market is asking for. So the question is, how do you choose the right career path? How do you do that? How do you become employable? Now we know that there are so many things that could impact this, but how in the world do you become employable? Let's talk about that. Now, first of all, one thing that we have done to help you answer this question is we have done a thorough analysis, and we do this year in, year out to find out what is new in the market. So the way we do it, we first do a job board analysis. We analyze LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, Monster, Built-in, and others. And what we are looking out for is what jobs are employers posting about right now? What is hot in the market? What are people talking about right now? What jobs are paying more right now? And then we pair this with the Future of Jobs report. We validate this against the Future of Jobs report. Now, the Future of Jobs report has a breakdown of all of the jobs that will remain relevant for the next years to come. So if you want access to this, if you want to look at this report in detail, please fill out the attendance form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section. It's the only way you're going to gain access to this, and you can take your time and review it. Now, we also pair this as well with a regional analysis. So first of all, job boards. What are people posting about? What jobs are recruiters looking for? What jobs are companies looking for? What jobs are hot right now? And then we pair that with, what does the Future of Jobs report say? What jobs are going to be relevant for the next few years to come? So we are validating what we have seen. And then we pair that with a regional analysis. So we're looking at the UK, the US, we're looking at Canada. We're looking at how easy is it for you to enter these regions with these jobs, with these opportunities. Do they offer visa sponsorship? Are these jobs where employers will pay you incredibly high amounts for? Are these jobs that are in demand? Are these jobs that these countries desperately need? And if that's the case, and it means that opportunities are bound in these areas. Now, when we did all of these analyses, it led us to a couple of solutions. Now, the first, business analysis. We've got data analysts. We've got Scrum Master, health tech analyst, financial analyst, HR analyst, health tech, agile project management, health tech business analyst. So all of these are jobs where you could literally pivot into this right now, and you would be safe for the next 5 years. You would be safe for the next 5 years. And then all you have to do is just keep on moving with the trends. Let me give an example. So when you read up stories of people getting laid off today, this 200 people got laid off, 300 people got laid off. It's really sad when you see that. But I'm going to tell you what is driving that shift. Part of what is driving that shift are business analysts. So business analysts are looking at businesses and they're saying to themselves, how do we automate this? So it literally means that you are on top of everything that is happening. How do we automate this? How do we make this process faster? How do we deliver value to the customer faster? How do we eliminate friction? How do we ensure that our workflows are seamless? Okay, so we can automate this process and we can automate that process. It's why if you're the kind of person who wants to relax when you get into tech might probably not be the best move for you, because there are so many opportunities, but they exist for people who are ready to grow. people who are ready to move. So it means that because you were doing something a previous way yesterday, it doesn't mean that you are doing it the same way today and you are ready to learn. So business analysts are constantly innovating. They're constantly changing things. And that's why you would see that layoffs and things and changes are happening at scale in businesses, because you have people who are literally analyzing the businesses and say, how do we make money faster? And how do we save money? You've also got data analysts as well. These are people who are literally directing the way the business moves with their insights. I'm going to be breaking down each of these career paths to you, but everything that you see here is as a result of careful research. And one thing I can guarantee you is that if you are looking to get into tech, this is exactly the path that you should be looking at exploring. Now, let's take a look at the best way to learn if you want to land a job. Now, remember when I said hybrid approach? Hybrid approach is I am learning and then I am also building. I am learning and I am building. So it means that while you are learning, you are also building your portfolio. You are learning and you are also building at the same time. And what you build is what you are going to showcase to the recruiters. So when it's time for you to get a job, you are now showing off your portfolio that you have already built while you were learning. This is the best way for you to learn if you want to land a job. So you are literally multitasking. Now, let's talk about portfolios. Remember that I said I'm going to show you what portfolios look like. Now, portfolios would look something like this. Okay, so I think we've got some people in the waiting room. 1 minute. Okay, so portfolios could look something like this. This is a portfolio. 1 minute. So I know that a lot of us were asking about portfolios before. Now, this is how recruiters are going to take you seriously. When you are applying for jobs and you are literally applying with your portfolio attached, they will say something like, okay, this person is ready. So let's say that your name was Victoria, and then you want to land a job. You want to get a job with the NHS. You want to get a job with the NHS, you have to show off your portfolio. You have to show that you have done something like this before and you are ready to do something like this again with the NHS. So this is an example of a portfolio, someone called Victoria Uchemandu, and this is her portfolio. So if Victoria submits a portfolio like this to the NHS, the first thing the NHS will think, especially when she's applying for the role of a data analyst, they will think to themselves, okay, Victoria has context. She has context on the industry. And then Victoria is also somebody who has done this before as well. But it's not just a resume looks completely different from this. A resume is just a list of I've done this and I've done that and I did 20% and 30%. But this is why I call your portfolio your show. So I want to click here and then you can see a dashboard that Victoria built. So if you're presenting this dashboard to a recruiter, when a recruiter opens your resume and they're looking at something like this, they will think to themselves, this person understands exactly what needs doing. Do you see this? So this is a dashboard that she built to analyze emergency room visits. And you can see how she has layered her analysis. You can see the number of patients by age and month. You can see the number of patients referred per department. This is, you can see general practice and others here. So when I'm looking at this as someone who is recruiting, what I would think to myself is that she has the experience. Now it's a question of, culture fit. It's a question of, does Victoria understand now she understands my industry. Does Victoria, has she done her research into my company? Does Victoria have the kind of personality that I like? How does she communicate? Is she articulate? All of these are things that happen on the interview level. But this is what happens pre-interview that gets you into that room. So when you are applying for jobs, you need to have a portfolio that you can use to show your recruiters that I have done this before. Now, this is a portfolio of a data analyst. If you're a business analyst, your portfolio would look different. If you're a product designer, your portfolio would look different. If you're in cybersecurity, if you're a data scientist, your portfolio would look different depending on the industry that you are in. However, there is one thing that remains the same. No matter what you are doing, you need to have a portfolio. Okay? Now let's talk about how you can gain and showcase your work experience. Remember that I've said this over and over again, that while you are in class, while you are learning, you are building your portfolio. Now, you also gain access as well to 2 months of internship with Amdari. Amdari is our sister company at Analytics, and you don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, are you guys splitting my, no. So it's 8 months of learning, and that 8 months is broken into 6 months you are learning the basics. 6 months you're getting onboarded into a new industry. You've never worked in tech before. You're just learning data analytics. You're just learning agile products management. You are going to learn in 6 months. And while you are learning, you are also building your portfolio, because you're going to be getting projects, and those projects are going to be graded. The best ones are the ones that make it to your portfolio. So there's going to be that level of oversight. Now, after 6 months, in 2 months, you are moving to Amdari. You're going to spend the next 2 months in Amdari. Amdari is where you run your internship. And don't forget, like I said, you also get to include both 10Analytics and Amdari on your resume. You get to put it on your CV. You get to put it in your portfolio. You get to put it on your LinkedIn as well. And then you also have a portfolio. Now, in a case of where you need reference, oh, I need a reference letter, you can always request for reference on your dashboard, on your 10Analytics dashboard. You can just request for reference and you instantly get your reference letter. So you have all of the support that you need if you take this journey in 10Analytics. Now, real quick, I'm just going to be showing you some of these tracks I've just walked you through. So business analyst, as a business analyst, what do you learn at 10Analytics? You're learning things like Excel, like Power BI, like SQL. You're learning how to map processes and others. You're learning stakeholder analysis and engagement, but the question is, what does a business analyst do? I already explained to you before. I gave you a tip on what business analysts do. Most of the processes that could you mute your mic, please, Daniela, if you don't mind muting everyone on the call, please. Thank you. All right. Let's just ensure that everyone can learn. When we're done, when I'm done with this, and I'm wrapping up shortly, you can ask any questions that you have. All right. So a business analyst is a process person. You cannot be introverted and be a business analyst. It's a very visible role. So you need to talk to people, you need to manage stakeholders, you need to talk to the CEO, you need to talk to the COO, you need to talk to the CFO, you need to talk to your CTO, you need to talk to your customers, your tech team, your products management team, your project team. And then what you're doing is that you are ensuring that the business is always in line with what the customers want. And you're also ensuring that tech is always building what the market needs and vice versa. So you're the one ensuring that the business stays afloat. That is what business analysts do. So you're constantly analyzing the business to say, is there a broken workflow? Is there something that I can fix? And you're building requirements to do that. When I first got into my career, I started in project management. And then I moved to product. And then somewhere along the line, I moved to business analysis. So when I tell you that this is something that requires, it's actually very exciting, because if you love to solve problems, you're going to love this track. But it does require you to put yourself outside a lot. So if you are introverted, it might not be the best fit for you. You're going to be learning tools like Power BI, Lucy Chart, Confluence, Draw.io, Trello. These are all tools that you're going to need as you do your day-to-day activities. Now you've also got health tech. We have the variation of the business analyst that is specifically for healthcare. So healthcare business analyst. Now, while you are learning the same thing that a business analyst does, this is different. It's with a caveat. Now, the difference is that in healthcare, you are learning specifically business analysis that is geared towards healthcare. So you are learning how to analyze processes geared towards healthcare, hospitals. So in this case, instead of maybe a business analyst who works at Amazon, for example, you work at the NHS and you're a business analyst, and everything that you do is healthcare related. Now, one of the reasons why this is separate is because the health tech industry on its own is a booming industry. A lot of companies are looking for people who have health tech experience. A lot of industries are looking for people who already have context in these roles. So if this is something that you're looking to pivot into, the business analyst is more on a generic level. So that means that you can make it into Amazon, Uber, any company really, but healthcare business analyst is focused specifically on healthcare. So all of the projects that you're going to be working on, what you're going to be building in your portfolio is designed to get you into these positions that you're looking for specifically in health tech. Now, we've also got other tracks as well, like Agile Projects Management. Now, Agile Projects Management, what a project manager does is, I like to think of them as the conductor in an orchestra. So you know how the conductor is always going like this, and he's always having them. When he does this, the violin plays, and then the sopranos go in. So that is how project managers are. They are conducting what is happening. They are the ones who are managing all of the projects that the team is working on. They typically are always managing a team, and they do this using different methodologies and frameworks. They use Agile, they use Scrum, and they're going to be learning all of that in this track. They're going to be learning the methodologies and the structures that are required for you to fully transition into Agile projects management. Now, we've also got a variation of this as well that is geared towards healthcare. Now, the difference between both of them is the same difference with business analysts. So maybe you're here and you already have experience in healthcare. It would actually be much easier for you to go for any of these tracks that are variations of the original. What do I mean? So maybe you already work in care. If you work in care and you are interested in pivoting into health tech, then you might want to consider going for healthcare projects management, or you want to go for the healthcare business analyst track I just walked you through. So this is geared towards healthcare. It is still Agile projects management, but the difference is that the projects that you're going to be building, what you are learning is designed to get you into these industries and move into the tech area of Agile projects management in healthcare. Now, we've also got data analysts as well. Now, the same thing happens here as well. With data analysts, you've also got a variation that is geared towards healthcare. So now under the data analyst track, you'll be learning things like problem solving, like Excel, like Power BI, like Tableau, data storytelling. So you're basically taking data, you're taking data sets and you're using the data sets to tell stories. That is exactly what data analysts do. A data analyst is the kind of person who would answer questions like, how did we do last year in Toronto? How much did we sell? And compared to how we did in, say, in New York, for example. So a data analyst would take the data, would compare it, and would bring out all of the insights. And one of the reasons why this is such a booming industry is because how do you grow if you are not learning? And what companies do every day is they learn. They literally learn. They learn that this is what the market wants. This is what the market needs. You know what we call trends? Trends are constantly changing. If you are in fashion, you would know that trends are constantly changing in fashion. And for a business that wants to stay in business, it is important that you are in line with those trends that you understand what is changing, that you understand how you are changing and how your strategies can meet up with the market so that your revenue does not tank. And that is part of what data analysts do. They also have this variation as well that is geared towards health tech. So while it is the same thing, the difference is that you are in healthcare and you are using data analysis to solve problems that are related to health tech. So it is the same thing, but the difference is you are telling stories that is related to healthcare. And again, it is so much easier if you already have experience in this in the medical field for you to pivot into healthcare data analyst, business analyst, or agile product management. If you're looking for something more generic, now this still works. You're still building projects. You are still going to get inside these industries. However, this one is just more specific. Now you're learning the same tools, SQL, Excel, Power BI, ChatGPT, Tableau. You're learning in a nutshell how to tell stories with data. Now let's look at the other tracks. We've got financial analyst. Now a financial analyst is a variation of a data analyst. But you know the difference is that you are telling stories that involve money. I don't know if anyone remembers that trend. You know that trend where I'm looking for a man in finance. And that's because finance is a booming industry. Finance is a booming industry. When you're asking yourself questions like, is AI going to replace us in this field? No company that is serious can trust their money to AI. One thing that people don't even realize yet is that AI is kind of bad at math. It's kind of bad at math. If you put AI to test, you find that AI fails the test in many cases. So you cannot trust your money to that. People need financial analysts. Companies need them to tell them how to invest their earnings, to tell them where their money is going, to analyze their spends, their revenue, and things like that. And this is where you come in. So you are a data analyst, but you are geared towards finance. Now, it's easier for people who already, maybe you're in accounting, maybe you do finance already. It's easier for you to move into this field. It's still the same thing, but the difference is that you are becoming a financial analyst. So you're basically becoming a finance person, a finance tech bro, or a finance tech sis. Now you're going to be learning tools like Power BI. You're going to be learning financial modeling and evaluation. You're going to be learning how to use SQL, ChatGPT, Power BI, and others. Now we've also got HR analysts. Now you see the way the world is changing, how technology is changing the kind of talent that are being hired. That's literally one of the reasons why we are here. So HR analysts would look at the trends in the market, would look at what the business needs, would say, okay, so the business is moving to a point where a lot of processes are being automated. And then that means that we need people who understand how to use AI tools on top of what they already do. So I need a financial analyst who understands how to use ChatGPT. I need a financial analyst who understands how to use this or that, and that's what is going to keep us competitive. Or they're looking into the market and they're figuring out, why are people leaving the company? How do we retain our best talent? So it's a variation of data analytics, but it's geared towards people. This is not you analyzing hospital data sets or analyzing e-commerce data sets. You are analyzing people and you're figuring out, how do we retain people? Why are we losing people? What kind of talents do we need? Where do we find that talent? So it's a variation of data analytics. And in this track, you'll be learning things like Power BI, like SQL. You'll be learning how to use HR tools. You'll be learning how to use Excel, ChatGPT, and others. Now, we've also got product design as well. Now, product design is perfect for people who are very visual. I think that if I wasn't doing what I do right now, if I wasn't in operations, I would probably have been a product designer because I'm very particular about the way colors look, about the way fonts look. I'm very particular about that. So if you're that kind of person who, when you go on a website, you're already judging the way it looks. You're telling yourself, this is really ugly. If you're the kind of person who is concerned with fonts, typography, if you maybe have a graphic design background, if you love to mix colors, maybe you did fashion before. Maybe you used to be a tailor or something. If you love to create from scratch, then product design is for you, because this is literally you ideating and bringing something to life. This is the best track for you. And here you'd be learning, you'd be getting your introduction into product design. You would be learning how to build things that enhance your user experience. You would be learning design thinking. Design thinking is actually pretty exciting. And I think one of the best parts of design thinking is that it is applicable to everything that you do. I use design thinking a lot. The same thing with user personas and journey maps. If you work in marketing, if you work in cybersecurity, if you work in business analysis, you'd find that, all of these are things that, if you have this knowledge, it will be incredibly useful to you. So if you're going for the product design track, this gives you a superpower. You'll be learning how to use tools like Figma, like Claude, like Notion, like Framer. And so that pretty much sums it up. Last but not least, we've got so many amazing career paths that will land you a job. Now, all of this, you have your classes on Saturday. You have your live classes. Your classes happen on Saturday between 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's the global time. We work with the UK time. And then you also have your Sunday. You can watch your Watch Me Do It videos anytime you want. You also have access to mentorship sessions that happens. Your mentorship session happens every Thursday. You have access to that every single Thursday. You have access to your classes in the evening as well, between 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That happens UK time. And then 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. MST, that's the Canadian time. Now, your learning track for all of this, I just walked you through data analysis, HR, financial analysis, and all of that. Your learning time for all of this is 8 months. And in 8 months, you are going to fully transition into the space. In many cases, some people do even before 8 months. Now your 8 months is broken down into 2. 6 months at Tenalytics and then 2 months at Amdari. The only difference is the product design track, where you learn in 3 months and then you spend 1 month in your internship. That's the only difference. So choose the career path that will land you a job. I'm hoping that you're already thinking, you're making a decision already. But I'd love to ask that question. What are you leaning towards? Are you leaning towards data analytics? Are you leaning towards healthcare business analysis? Are you leaning towards agile projects management? Where is our head at? Let me see your responses in the chat. What are you leaning towards? Rufus said data analyst. Okay, awesome. Anybody else? What are we leaning towards? Ephraim said data engineering. Fantastic. Data engineering is a fantastic track. A data engineer builds pipelines for data. So it's pretty amazing. It's pretty incredible. It's one of the high-paying, high-demand jobs that will not be going out of style anytime soon. One of the highest-paying jobs in the world. So you're certainly on the right track. Ego said data analysis. Dapo said healthcare data analyst. Okay, fantastic. 8 p.m. Taiwo said data science. I think data science is pretty exciting. And I see that Enoch's hand is raised. I'm about to wrap up the session, Enoch, so I'm going to be taking questions very soon, so don't worry about that. But data science is so exciting because your Netflix, your Instagram, your TikTok, all of that uses predictive technology that literally says, when you go in the chat section, you see things like, my algorithm doesn't betray me, or my algorithm knows what I like. It's because when you interact with data, with posts, with comments, the algorithm is literally reading you and is saying, okay, I can see that Fisayo likes anything that has to do with business. I see that Fisayo likes anything that has to do with data. So I'm going to show Fisayo more business-related posts. I'm going to show her more data-related posts. When you interact with, the cats, there's this trending one right now. Meow, 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 meow. You know, that really funny one, we call it the AI slop, all those AI generated really funny videos. So, for example, let's say that Rita loves to interact with that. The algorithm will say, oh my goodness, Rita loves this. I'm going to show Rita more of this. That is data science. And it's so amazing when, you know, predict the way predictive technology works. It's going to take what you interact with all the time and then refer more of that to you. So data science is a fantastic track. So I love the fact that we are already thinking in line of this is what I want to lock down. Let's talk more about the strategy, the formula for you to land your dream job. I want you to take a look at what I've got on my screen. This is a formula. We call it the LPA. And when you combine this together, it will give you what you have at the end, which is the job. Now, the LPA means, first of all, learn. So what do you want to do? You want to do health tech? You want to learn data analysis, business analysis, or agile projects management in health tech? Or you want to do data, business, financial analytics, HR, product design, or agile projects management? Whatever it is that you decide to do, it is critical that you focus. You must focus. There are lots of people who would say things like, oh, I want to do data science. Oh, no. I want to do data analytics. Oh, no. I want to do, just choose one. Choose one. When I tell you that every single thing here, every single role that you see here is high paying. Every single role that you see here will open doors for you. This is literally combined with data from the Future of Jobs report. So you are not getting something that, you know, will become redundant in the next couple of months or in the next couple of years. With this, you are building a future for yourself where you are employable in countries in the US, in the UK, in Canada. When you learn this, then you pair it with what we call package. Package is how you show up in the market. Now, the learn part is the skill. We've already established that there are lots of skilled people in the market today who are not employed. You probably know someone who has all of the skills, but is still looking for a job. And that's because a lot of times people tend to mistake learning with packaging. They think that once they have learned that they are automatically employable, but that is not true. The package aspect covers things like how you show up in the market and how you are perceived as a candidate. That includes things like, do you have a portfolio? Is your LinkedIn optimized? We saw the last time that some people said here that they have gotten messages from recruiters. And that literally tells you the value of having a LinkedIn account. If you are here and you don't have a LinkedIn account, you're not ready. That's the honest truth. You are not ready. You need to go open a LinkedIn account. This is how you become discoverable in the market. You need to revamp your CV. You need to build experience. How do you build experience? We've already spoken about that. You're building experience while you are learning, as opposed to learning and then building experience. Nobody has got time for that. So we are combining both of them together. We're learning and we're building experience. We also gain access as well to mentorship. Remember, because nobody walks alone. Mentorship in terms of how do you show up in the market? When recruiters ask you questions like, tell me about yourself, how do you respond? Do you go, my name is Lola. I'm a hard worker. It's really nice to meet you. I will do well in your company if you employ me. Nobody wants to hear that. So all of this is your employability, how you show up, how you prepare for interviews. Once you've even gotten the job, do you have a reference? Once you are on the job and you need support, do you have that? So the package aspect covers the employability, which is how you show up in the market. And then you've got the apply. Now, you would think that when you talk about this, that people would actually pick it up and understand it. You know, I had a candidate tell me one time, an alumni tell me one time, she hadn't gotten a job, by the way. It's a really funny story. I'm going to share it with you. So someone reached out and said, oh, Analytics, you guys are scammers. You're scammers because you promised me that, my sister was going to get a job and she didn't get a job. What's going on here? And I thought to myself, really? If you put all of this together, you will get a job if you do this and you do it over and over again. So we go on a call with her, to find out what's going on. And then, the questions started coming. So she learned with Tenalite, she learned a year ago in 2025, and she was part of the cohort that graduated in April. And since then, she hadn't gotten a job. And this was where the questions started coming in from. First of all, realized that she didn't have a LinkedIn account. She had no LinkedIn account. Secondly, she never sent her resume in to be optimized. So she basically went and built a resume that was not designed for the market that she was operating in. Thirdly, she had no portfolio, which is surprising because she was supposed to build a portfolio. And it's one of the reasons why I say things like tech is not for people who are not ready. If you are angry and you are ready to change your life, you don't need people to push you 24/7. You are ready. And if we push you, you respond to being pushed, which means that you are moving. So she basically had missed all of the steps here, even though she had learned. So she got this aspect right. She got the learn aspect right. But the package aspect, she wasn't there. Her LinkedIn did not exist. She did not have a proper CV. She never booked interview preps, which is surprising because interview preps are free, which means that you can book, if you have 700 job interviews, you can book 700 interview preps. And she never booked an interview prep. And then one thing that really stood out was she kept on using the same resume to apply for jobs. And you know what her excuse was? She said it's exhausting having to change the keywords in her resume every time she wants to apply for a job. Looking for a job is a full-time job on its own. That is it. It is a full-time job on its own. You have to commit to updating your keywords. Well, I'm going to change this keyword here because you can be amazing. You can be the best talent, but the market is competitive. So when you use the skills, you also need to develop the employability aspect. And this is what makes you stand out. So if you're fantastic at L, but you fail in P and A, you have a problem. But you know what the good thing is? The good thing is that at Tenalytics, this is a community. So if you need help, if you need support on any of these levels, it is already provided to you before you ask. But if you need more, you can always reach out and say, this isn't working for me. I have a question. I don't really understand this. How do I do this? They explained to me, they showed me how to do this, but it's not working. I'm applying for jobs. I'm not getting responses. What am I doing wrong? So this is a community that is designed to help you get a job. That's the entire reason we exist. So keep that in mind. Now, question, are you comfortable where you are right now? That's my question to you. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Are you comfortable where you are right now? You can type a yes or a no in the chat. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Yes or no? Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? Yes or no? Are you looking for better opportunities? Are you looking for better? No, okay. Patrick is saying no. Rita is saying no. Isaiah said no. Oluwapelumi said no, I am not. Fantastic. Fantastic. I want better. I love that energy. That's exactly why we are here, because better exists. Elvis said, no, I am not. Fantastic. So how do you get better? How do you get better? Let me show you all of the things that you're going to be getting today. Now, if you choose to register today, you're going to be getting a lot of freebies that people don't typically get. So first thing is you're going to be getting access to the Founder Circle. You're going to be getting access to a personalized transition roadmap. You're going to be getting access to guidance before the cohort starts, which is Fisayo, John, Jonah, Ego, Ola, Oluwapelumi, Rita, Rufus, Adebayo, Ifran. You're going to be getting personalized roadmaps that, okay, this is what Fisayo needs, and this is how Fisayo should proceed. in order for you to absolutely crush it in this marketplace. I can see that you are not happy where you are at, and this is the roadmap for you to get to where you need to be. You're also going to gain access as well to our mentorship session. So you're going to be learning from industry experts. You're going to be gaining insight into the Canadian market, the UK market, the US market, the job market specifically. You're also going to have access to interview simulations. You're going to gain access to sessions on visa pathways, specifically in the UK. So all of these are freebies that you absolutely do not want to miss out. You're also going to gain access to lifetime mentorship, which means that every single time we have a mentorship session, which happens every week, you can always join in. It doesn't matter if you've gotten a job already. It doesn't matter if your program is over. You can always join, because if there's one thing that professionals keep on doing, it is we never stop learning and we never stop growing. Now, once you enroll, you also gain access to this course. You get it for free. So if you choose to enroll in project management, if you choose to enroll in business analysis, in whatever it is you choose to enroll in, you are getting access to it for free. So every time it is updated, and we typically do that every single year because the market, the industry is always changing. You have access to it. It's in your dashboard. You can always log in and you can get updated on the latest trends in the market. By the way, you don't get this with Coursera. You don't get this with Udemy, because it literally stops at where you got the course. Now, another thing that happens is that if you fall behind or you cannot finish this cohort because, well, life just happened, you can always jump into the next one, and you do this for free. This is not something we offer all the time. It's a one-time offering, and we are only offering that tonight. Now, by the end of week 12, you will have 3 industry-ready projects live in your portfolio. So what this means is that you are transitioning into a new career path. By week 12, you will have 3 projects in your portfolio. So you already have a portfolio that looks as amazing as Victoria's portfolio. Remember Victoria's portfolio? You have those projects inside your portfolio, and you can begin to apply for jobs. Now, you also get a free one-on-one career consultation as well if you choose to register during this session, okay? Now, this is Mawutin, just a quick one. Mawutin joined our data analytics program in 2023, and Mawutin eventually got a job at the NHS as a pathology data analyst. So this is something that you can absolutely do. I want you to look at Mawutin and see yourself in Mawutin. And the only reason why this happened for Mawutin was because he did the LPA and he did it well. He learned, he applied, and then he learned, he packaged, and he applied. Now, our next cohort is starting on the 11th of April. 11th of April. 11th of April, the next cohort is starting. That's basically in a couple of days. Now, everything I have just walked you through, every single course I have just walked you through is $1,250 if you want to join the next cohort that is starting. $1,250. However, you can get it at a discounted amount of $600. And that is only happening today. It's only happening tonight. If you're coming in to get this tomorrow, you'll get it at the original price. But tonight, because you're in this session, you are getting it at $600 as opposed to $100 and $250. And that's also because we are running the IWD discount, okay? And we've only got a couple of slots left. So once these slots fill up, that means you can no longer get it at this price again. Now, whichever happens first, if the slots fill up tonight, or if by tomorrow you haven't gotten it at a special price, there's a possibility you might not get it. Now, what's happening is that my colleagues are going to be dropping this link in the chat. And when you come here, you can see a breakdown of all of these courses I've just walked you through. You can see business analysis, you can see health tech, you can see HR, you can see You can see cybersecurity, DevOps, agile projects management, and you can see that the discount is currently live for all of these courses I just walked you through. So if you are ready to lock it down right now, I'm just going to quickly show you what that looks like, okay? So click on the link that my colleague is dropping in the chat right now, and you can just follow this process with me. So let's imagine that you want to register for health tech analyst. So you want to be a business, you want to be a data analyst in health tech. So this is the process that you are most likely you're going to go through. So you can do this with me at the same, I'm going to just do this together real quick. All right, so you come here, and when you get to this page, you can see that your discount is already live. You're going to click on this button to enroll now. Now, when you click on enroll now, it's going to take you to a page where you can complete your sign up. Now, at this page, you want to get your email address. So get your email address ready. You're going to put in your full name. You're going to put in your email here. Okay, so I'm just going to put my email there. And then you're going to put in your phone number as well. And then you're going to tick to agree to the terms and conditions. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. All right, so this is verifying. Just a minute here. So it's a very simple process. And then you click on sign up. That's it. Your account is being created. So I would advise that you follow the process with me and you book your account or you create your account alongside me so we can all learn, so we can all do it together at the same time. Now, remember what I said about the discount. This is a one-time discount. It's either the seats sell out first or you miss the deadline for it. But whatever happens, you want to get in right now. So I was having a conversation real quick with someone. We had a one-on-one session today. And he was talking about how he first came across Tenalytics in 2022, I believe. And the question I asked him was, do you wish you had taken that decision in 2022? Because if you had, you would already have spent 2 years in the industry. And he said that's one thing that he really regrets, not taking that decision. So this is something that you want to get into right now and book it at this price, because I can guarantee you, if you miss it at this price, it's not going to come back again. So you have the option of choosing the April cohort or the May cohort, depending on which one you want. But as you can see here, the May cohort only has 41 spots left. The April cohort is the one that's starting on April 11th. So you want to get in, you want to get started immediately. This is the one you should prioritize. Now you can also choose to make your payment in different installments, in 3 installments, or you can choose to pay it at once. Now, 3 installments is, you guys seem like you're great, but I have doubts and I want to see if this works for me. So I'm going to pay once and then I'm going to experience the program myself and then see if it's a good fit for me. Whichever one you want to do, that's fine. Now, one thing I would advise is, even if you're not sure which one you want to do, you're not sure if it is health tech, data analyst, if it's agile projects management, if it's data science, you're not sure, I would advise just book a course, pay for one right now, so you can lock it down at this price. And then when we have our one-on-one session, we can talk about it. So now this is your breakdown. You can see how much is due today. You can see how much you're paying, and then you confirm. So when we have our one-on-one session, you can see something like, well, I paid for this and it's not really the best fit for me right now. I want to move, and we're going to move you at no extra charge. So you're not paying anything else. You're just saying, I paid for business analysis, but on further thought, I realized that health tech business analysis is the best fit for me. And we move you immediately to that cohort and you're not paying extra. So that's it. When I click on pay now, it starts to process my payment and then it leads me to check out via Stripe. Now, this is a very easy, simple, straightforward process. When I get here, all I have to do is just put in my card details. So I'm just going to put in, this is a test card, by the way. I'm just going to put in my card details here. And that's pretty much it. Okay. That's pretty much it. I put in my test card details here. I put my month in, and then I put my CVC, and that's pretty much it. Then I select my region and I pay. So that's it. Once you do this, you have completed your payment and you have locked down I would say you have secured the trajectory of your life, of your career. You've successfully made a decision that I'm going to move and I'm going to do something different. And this stuff I'm going to do is different from everything else that I have ever done. So you're taking a bold step to move out of the shit schedule, the unpredictable world that you work in, and you're moving into tech. And like we already established at the start of this conversation, tech offers you so much opportunity. I'm going to go here back to my email, by the way, and then I'm going to just go to verify email. You should have received a verification link in your email. So all you have to do is just open that. And when you do, you're going to get a link. You're going to get a code rather, and that code is what you load into here. And then you use that to verify your account. It's a very straightforward process, and it's only going to take you a couple of minutes. Okay? A very straightforward process. So real quick, you can see that my code is 623793. I'm just going to quickly fill that in here. 623793. And that's it. My email is verified. Now, once I complete this process, it takes me to a page where all I have to do is just fill in my course details. You know, what time am I available? Do I want to go for the morning class or the evening class? I already showed us how it works. And then you also have access to your Watch Me Do It videos as well. So you can watch your Watch Me Do It videos at your convenience while you're cooking in your kitchen. You know, maybe you can even listen to it while you're driving as well, whatever that looks like for you. But this is me completing my sign up. I can indicate if I want to be in the morning or the evening class that happens on Saturdays. So I can say I want to be in the evening class because of my time zone. How did you find out about Tenalytics? You can just put that in there. I would say Twitter. If you have a different email that you would rather use for your account, you can indicate that here. You got a referral code. What made you register with Tenalytics? I would say it's because they are really amazing. Now, how much time can you commit weekly? We typically ask this question so that we can design your learning experience for you and ensure that it is a perfect fit. And that's it. You have completed your sign up and you gain access to your dashboard. This is what your LMS looks like. And this is you starting a new journey. Okay? You are getting started in a new journey. So when you get to this stage, you log in, you have made your payment. You can actually test out CV Matchly as well. This is where you can upload your resume. You can give it a test run here, and then you can watch CV Matchly perform its magic and see how it optimizes your resume. There's so many cool things for you to check out when you get to your dashboard. But first, you want to complete your checklist, your onboarding checklist, and then this gives you a couple of questions that you have to answer. Questions like, have you installed this tool? You know, all of those tools I showed you, like Power BI and Tableau, you have to install those tools on your computer because you're going to be learning how to use them. So you're going to be watching videos that can show you how you can install those tools in your computer. You're going to be seeing who your facilitators are. You're going to see your curriculum. You're going to see how you're going to learn. This is the level where you also get to join your pod as well. Remember when I spoke about the pod, your small community? So you want to get in on this, and you want to get in on this really fast. You want to move on this really fast because this opportunity is not going to be here forever. Now, registration closes on the 7th of April. We're only a few days away from that happening. So you want to ensure that you lock in your opportunity at this price right now, or you're going to lose a 50% discount. This is never going to happen again. Now, remember what I said. You gain access as well. That's if you decide to book it tonight. You also gain access to a one-on-one consultation We can have a conversation about your career path. We get on a call and it's just you and I, and we talk about your career, we talk about your background, and we talk about what you're looking to accomplish. Now, if we realize that what you have paid for is not the perfect fit for you, we simply move you to what feels right. And whether or not you have decided, you know with conviction that this is the best move for your career. If you just want to talk and get advice on what the next step is, we can have the one-on-one consultation. But again, this is only available if you lock down your spot tonight. So think about it. You could lock down your spot tonight and the rest of your life completely changes. Or you could be like the guy who mentioned to me that he saw us in 2022, but he wasn't ready at the time to make that move. And he only made the move in this cohort. And you can imagine that's a couple of years, about 4 years of progress that he could have had that he has lost. But he's getting started now. I would say it's better for you to start now as opposed to you never starting at all. Now, one thing to also note as well is that we also got into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity Program. That was in October 2024. And like I mentioned, you can gain access to this slide. Please fill the form, the attendance form that my colleagues are sharing in the chat. And that's the way for you to gain access to this slide, as well as the recording of the slide. So maybe you're driving and you missed a couple of things that I said. So you can just fill that out and you gain access to this, including all of the freebies that we only share with the people inside of our community. So are you ready to take that bold step and change your life and be a part of the cohort that starts in April or the cohort that starts in May, especially now that it is at this price? I see that we have a couple of hands raised, but if you have a question, we can get started with your question as we wrap up this session. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here. I'm just going to quickly, before I take the hands that I see that are raised, I'm just going to quickly look at the chat here just to see any comments. So Sam is asking, what if you're not allowed to divulge information about your experience because of company competition? So we can have this conversation, Sam. We can have a one-on-one, but this is part of why you also need to have Tenalytics and Amdari as well. Now, depending on what company you work at, if you have this kind of policy, it's fine. You're looking to transition into a new career path. With Tenalytics, you have the opportunity of listing Tenalytics and Amdari on your resume. So that means that you do not have to worry about any of this. You're literally building a new experience for yourself in the industry. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Sam. But this is also information that you can share in your one-on-one. It's not going to leave that conversation. We can use this information to advise you better on how to make a change. Ephraim said, thanks, but the main live lectures, will it be different or the same with the recorded lectures? So your Watch Me Do It videos are basic. So if you've ever taken a course on Coursera or on Allison or whatever, so you would see how your Watch Me Do It videos are. It's where you have there's a breakdown and step by step on, if you want to use Power BI, you do it like this, you do it like this. So you're not practicing throughout. It's kind of like when you're learning how to drive and then you're reading up about cars. When you get into your classes is where you now talk about any issues that you had. Oh, while I was trying to do this, I had a problem. While I was trying to fix this one, I had a problem. And guess what? You don't even have to wait for that to happen. You have drop-in sessions. You can join a drop-in session, and then you can also book a call as well whenever you hit a roadblock and it's just something that you can't figure out yourself. Maybe you're watching a video and you have to set up a new feature by yourself and you just keep on hitting a block that you can't move past that. You can reach out to your facilitator for help, and you can also book a session as well with a technical facilitator who will break down how you can get past that and work with you on debugging whatever it is you're experiencing. So when I say end-to-end support, that is what we literally have access to. Musa said, I work in healthcare. Just now, I wanted to do data analyst, but I have seen the new health data analyst. Can this role be done remotely? Every single role I have walked you through today can be done remotely. They all are remote opportunities. You can do them remotely, you can do them hybrid, you can do them on site. It just depends on you, whichever one you want to go for. But every single role here, you don't have to clock into the office. That's one thing to note, okay? All right, so Nkechi is saying, can you pay the fee in installments? I mean, absolutely. You can get started with $200. I'm just going to quickly go here and show you what that looks like. So when you get here, you can convert it to your currency. So depending on what you're looking to go for. So this is the data analyst track. I'm just going to quickly show us what it looks like when I click on enroll. So when you click on enroll, it takes you to this page. You can just click on the link that my colleagues are dropping in the chat, and it's going to lead you here. So when you click on enroll, it takes you to this page. Let me just go back. So when you click on enroll, it takes you to a page where you can select whichever one works for you. Okay? So you can you can select your drop down. I think it's because I've logged in, maybe that's why this is happening. You can just select your drop down. Okay, just a minute. You can select whichever one works for you. Okay, but while I'm doing this, Enoch, I see that your hand is up. You can unmute your mic and ask a question.
Okay, so I wanted to ask because I'm a nurse here in the UK. We usually work 12-hour shifts, and looking at the time for the live that has been set, even if I go long days and I close early, we close around 7:45. That means I'm going to then by 7:45, I go home by 8:30 max. So I'm going to miss a portion of the live classes that will be had. So then I'm asking. So in this case, is it that my only option, as you were saying, would be to be doing the watch it and then do it and then perhaps maybe use the drop-in sessions to ask my questions whenever I have any question regarding the videos that I'm watching?
Oh, no. So you have access to support throughout this process. So you have I explained the way the community works. You have your pod, you have your cohort, you have your facilitators, you have your DAs, your facilitators. You can always reach out to them and say, I have a question. I'm not sure how to do this. You can also join your drop-in sessions, and then you can also book a call as well. So you can get a Calendly link, you can book a call and find the time that works for you to debug any issues that you have. So if you missed the Saturday classes, by the way, it's also recorded as well. So you can also sit down and you can watch the class too. So just like you watch me do with videos. But if you miss any of that, you can also book a call with a technical DA who would walk you through any issues that you're having and help you resolve it.
Okay. So all this can be done on the platform that I've been enrolled on, that I've done everything that I'm supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Once you're on board, then all of this can be done through your LMS and through your classroom as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I see that iPhone has their hand raised. Okay, iPhone, I can take your question.
So I think I wrote something in the chat. I asked what happens after 9 months and someone is still unable to secure a job.
Okay, so after 9 months and you're unable to secure a job, so everybody has different timelines. So for some people, like Hope, for example, Hope got a job in 3 months. We have people who come in and they get jobs in 6 months. Some get jobs in 7 months. There's this young man, his name is Christian. Christian was 16 years old at the time when he joined, and it only took Christian a couple of months after his program had wrapped up. I think it was 3 months after his program had wrapped up, if I'm remembering that correctly, for Christian to get a job. So one thing to note is that your timeline might be different. But if after 9 months you haven't gotten a job, you can always reach out for support. So this is a community that is always accessible to you. That was why I said the story of the lady who, after 2 years, came and said, it wasn't working. Why wasn't it working? When we looked at the way she was applying, we found out that there were a lot of holes in it. She hadn't worked on her resume. She did not have a LinkedIn profile. What she said was, I don't really like LinkedIn. What do you mean? And you're looking for a job? So all of these were part of what was holding her back. So we're going to sit with you. We're going to do a proper audit. We're going to look at the resume you're using to apply. We're going to look at how you're applying for these jobs. We're going to look at the strategy that you are using to find out what isn't working. Because I can tell you that it might be a case of something isn't working, especially when it's been that long. But the fantastic thing is that we are always here to support you. So this is not a case of only when you are in the program. You always have access to us and you can always reach out for support. And anytime you need it, we are here to support you. That is exactly how we have gotten so many testimonials. And that's why we are so invested in people getting jobs, because what counts for us is not the skill. What counts are the people who come in and who come back and tell amazing stories that we can share on YouTube, on LinkedIn, to inspire people to say, hey, this could be you. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. All right. I can see that Rita has a hand raised. Rita, do you want to unmute?
Hello, Lola.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening, Rita.
Sorry, I already stepped out. Okay, my question is, I'm already enrolled for the business analytics program. So my question is, because I'm a medical laboratory scientist, so I'm already in the healthcare profession. So earlier, I wanted to go for the healthcare business analytics, but having thought it through, I decided to choose business analytics because I felt it is kind of broader. It's something I could easily delve into the healthcare analytics job role, or the normal business analytics job role. So my question now is, let's assume I'm done with the program and I want to apply for a job in the healthcare sector. Do I have to change since my certificate carries business analytics, do you think it's gonna affect me getting the job as a healthcare analyst rather?
Okay, so there's something we call, it's a fantastic question, by the way, Rita. There's something we call transferable skills in tech. So what transferable skills means is that no experience is a waste. No experience is a waste. One of the things that makes me good at my job is because I have worked in different industries before. And this is also something that recruiters, especially when you can translate your impact very clearly, it's something that they also look out for as well. So you've worked in business analysis, you're moving to data, you're moving to healthcare, you're moving to all of these are things that add up and make you amazing at your job. But it's all about how you tell the story. So one thing you want to look out for is use impact-driven words. And this is part of the things that we're going to teach you how to do and also help you do when you work on your CV. We're going to teach you how you can speak the language of impact that recruiters can understand, because no experience is a waste. Nobody is looking out for just people who have worked in healthcare or health tech all their lives. It's not possible. They're also, even though you have experience in other industries. For example, let's say that you're a teacher who has never ever worked in tech before, you have no experience, and you're looking to transition into business analysis. As a teacher, you have managed stakeholders before. Your headmistress, your headmaster, your students' parents, all of these are stakeholders. This is stakeholder management. But a lot of times people don't understand how to translate this in their stories, how to translate this in their resumes to show that they have done something like this before. So to answer your question, your experience is not a waste. It's now a matter of how you tell the story. You don't have to change it. All you have to do is reframe it. Are you there, Rita? Rita, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I got this.
Okay, fantastic. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Lola. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so someone in the chat was asking, so you can always come here and you can just, you can change the currency. You can see what it looks like in your currency. And then you can also see as well that you can either pay once or you can pay in installments. This is 3 installments. So if you choose to pay in installments, you can come here. You can see that your promo has been applied, and then you can also see when your next payment date will be. So if I choose to pay in installments today, it means that my next payment date is going to be on the 4th of May. And we also have a really amazing feature here as well. Depending on what that looks like, you can also change your next, you can put it 7 days ahead and say, oh, you know what? I don't want my next payment date to be the 4th of May. I want it to be the 11th of May. You can do that here. And what happens is that all of your next payment adjusts to that date. So it's now the 11th, the 11th, the 11th. So you can do that if maybe you earn differently and you want to ensure that you're always prepared for when it's time for that debit to come in. So I hope this answers your question as well. Nkechi, your hand is up.
Hello, good evening. I joined late, but I actually want to ask 2 questions. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to ask, I don't know whether you guys talked about it. Is this current day AI gonna sweep off data analyst demand? And another question I want to ask is, how successful can somebody in her 50s be in as a data analyst? Do they well, how will does it have something to do with age? Do you think it's meant for the young person? And then would there be a time when this AI, thing happening now will take over data analyst job, that the people that got it done are no longer gonna be needed? That's my question. 2 of them are my questions.
Fantastic questions, Nkechi. So I'm going to answer your first question on, is AI going to replace professionals? Now, you see, AI cannot replace data analysts. AI cannot replace people who are using AI as a force multiplier. So let me explain something to you. Whenever you hear that things are being automated, you typically need people to be in charge of that automation. So what happens is I'm automating processes, but I still need people to be in charge of the processes that I am automating. So I'm only going to go for somebody who understands how to use AI. So what that essentially means is that if you are somebody who is using AI, you infuse AI in your workflow, you are going to be the person I turn to when I say, okay, for example, as a data analyst, how does AI help me? How does AI help me work faster? If, traditional data analysts are building dashboards in 5 hours, but because you know how to use AI to enhance your workflow, you can build it in 15 minutes. That makes you an asset. So AI is definitely going to push a lot of people out of the industry, but only those who don't understand how to use AI as a force multiplier. To expand on what I'm saying, people were worried. People were worried when the internet came about, right? And just people thought that everyone is going to be smart now because we have the internet, because we have phones, and everybody has a laptop, and everybody can access the internet. But that did not happen. And that's the same thing with AI. AI is as powerful as you use it. It is as powerful as the limits that you apply to it. So it is not AI in itself that is powerful. It is the way humans use